here with Frico. Frico has been looking into some of Mr. Ryan Geno's submissions in the PAL area and found that there were many, many wrong. I'd been speaking with Frico on this. He's been speaking with other people as well. And we had got together and we compiled a little video and a small list of all the things that we found wrong. So at this time, we're going to bring in Frico. He's going to explain some of what we are seeing in this video and some of what is wrong. And I will also be pointing out features and details as well. So without further ado, we should get going on this.
All right, so before we get started, what I'm going to do is basically show all of the discrepancies with the Nintendo Entertainment System, and I'll do a quick summation at the end of the Mega Drive submissions that Ryan has made.
Yeah, that one should be pretty easy because they're all made on the same console.
Yeah, but you know, a bulk of the NES submissions are wrong, and, well, I think it's just about time we just get into the video that we made.
It's easier to show it.
Yeah, it's much easier to show it instead of talking about it. But we're going to start first, basically alphabetically, although there is one little minor exception. We're going to start with Alpha Mission and go through the list. So we're going to see Ryan's submission for Alpha Mission. You can see the cartridge. There is a logo, and here's a better look at the cartridge itself outside, and the PAL logo has the red marking to it that we saw was not present on Ryan's submission. And we're going to go back to his title screen in the game, and we're going to see licensed by Nintendo of America, which corroborates that he was using an NTSC cart in this game.
Right, because according to licensing laws, you can't sell a cartridge outside of the area you have it licensed to.
Well, not legally.
Right,
least.
not legally.
But, you know, we're going to quickly go to Astyanax, and we're going to see licensed by Nintendo of America yet again. So that's going to throw that one out. Now, here's a different one. We've got Bucky O'Hare. This is a Konami game. We're going to see the cart. He uses a Super Games 150-in-1, which we're going to have a little bit of an issue with.
Right,
but
we don't know if those are PAL or NTSC ROMs, but by the looks of it.
Well, we do know that this is going to be an NTSC ROM because we're going to go to the what would be a legitimate PAL submission of a title screen for the Bucky O'Hare game.
Right, because Palcom was the ones who handled it. It was basically Konami's European branch, just as Ultra Games was their U.S. branch. They handled all the conversions, so that you would see a Palcom.
Not all of them. There's one exception we'll see in this video.
Yep.
We'll come across that later, but for the most part, Bucky O'Hare, Castlevania, most of the Castlevania games were all part of that Palcom software subsidiary that Konami established.
Right.
But that all told, we're going to move on from that. But, you know, what I wanted to show was that the title screen in Ryan's submission is nothing like the legitimate Palcom software version of the game, which would be, you know, an NTSC version of the game in PAL submission or in Ryan's submission.
Right, and that would lead me to believe that all the ROMs on that cart, that 150-in-1, because next we have Balloon Fight, which is also done on that 150-in-1. Then we have Batman Returns, which was also done on that 150-in-1. So I would think that those are all NTSC. I don't know if generic or whatever aftermarket cartridges went through the trouble of getting NTSC versus PAL ROMs. Would you, in all honesty, if you're trying to make a quick buck selling phony ROMs?
Well, hey.
would you go through and sort? I mean,
when it comes through to a 150-in-1, it's just, hey, here's a bunch of ROMs, go have fun.
Right.
Who's really going to care about the difference between NTSC and PAL?
Right, unless you know. So now we have Dracula's Curse. Now, the Castlevania series is a personal favorite of mine, and I don't know anybody.
Yeah, I'll let you handle this one.
So this one was fun to see. We have Castlevania here, Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 3. That is an NTSC cartridge. Here's a better shot of an PAL cartridge, actually. This is a PAL A region. Note PALCOM at the bottom. Also note the black stripe at the top of the cartridge in the artwork. Also, here's the close-up of NTSC, which is in Ryan's console. Very, very different artwork from the PAL versions. And again, a PAL B version has that same black stripe, just so there was no discrepancy between the two. I was using a different PAL version. There are some different PAL versions out there, we know that. But this is not the case. Then, of course, we have the main title screen, which is kind of a dead giveaway. This is licensed by Nintendo of America.
Yeah, we'll see the same thing in Double Dragon soon enough, but going to Double Dragon, we're going to notice that there is a Tradewest logo at the top of the cartridge, and if you go to the PAL version of the cartridge, there's not going to be any Tradewest logo at the top. There's no logo at all at the top.
No text of any kind, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to, here's the NTSC version where you can see the clear Tradewest and Nintendo logos at the top, which
match up what's in Ryan's console.
Yeah, match his console completely. So that, again, NTSC cart in a PAL system. So...
Well, next up should be pretty obvious. We had a Donkey Kong Jr., Now, this is an NTSC cart, the orange cart that everybody over here in the NTSC land got.
Yeah.
Now, here's a PAL version, which very, very different artwork. European version says it right on it. Very, very different artwork. I don't even think we have to go any further on that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty glaring problem. Now, we're going to actually go into a little video here because Dr. Mario was an in-house Nintendo title, so Nintendo doesn't have to license their own stuff to themselves, so it's very difficult with the first-party titles to tell the difference. So we're going to go to a little bit of a video recording that was made to display the difference between the versions of the game. So if you could start that up.
So here we have Ryan's audio that first started out. You can tell the difference between the audio and scratching of it. The screen on the left is a PAL cart on a PAL system playing at full speed. The screen on the right is Ryan's submission video, which appears to be an NTSC cart playing in a PAL system. In a few seconds you'll see and hear the difference.
Well, it already switched over to the audio.
Yep.
Although I will have to apologize for how bad I played. Never mind my bad play on the PAL system. This was kind of a, hey, here's the controller, play the game for a bit.
Yeah.
Grab a little...
And then you can see we have an NTSC cart on a PAL system, which sounds exactly like Ryan's submission.
Yeah, so another clear NTSC cart on PAL system display, so, you know, this seems
it matches up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It matches up in the raw.
Yeah. You know, another clear issue with the submissions that I brought up, and here's the audio for the regular version of the game.
Yep, well, the NTSC on the PAL.
Which
and then you can hear Ryan's, which sounds identical, albeit hollow because it's recorded off of And then we have Galaga.
Now here's the the EU version of Galaga. The header was black, where we see the NTSC Galaga was
very digitized.
yellowish and kind of digitized into a different font entirely.
Yeah, which was really cool. And then we
Yeah.
have Godzilla. Monster
It was
of
cool and
monsters.
all, but easily
Differentiated.
differentiated between the two.
Yeah, a quick a quick search would have. I mean, that's what we did
Yeah,
for the most part.
Well,
For images and stuff. We just did a quick search on Google. Next, we have
Godzilla, Master of Monsters.
Yeah. Now-
This one I noticed right away.
yeah,
The
it was
Toho
pretty apparent.
logo on the top of the cartridge is the giveaway here.
Yep. If you notice, the Toho logo does not have a red banded stripe. Here's an NTSC cart with no red banded stripe. Here's a PAL cart. You'll notice the
PAL
Toho.
A.
Yeah, the Toho has, and this is the PAL B also with the red label over the Toho. So very, very easy to see the difference. And here's a bad screenshot, but you can watch the submission and see for yourself that it does say licensed by Nintendo of America.
Oh, here's another fun one. And this is the exception to the Palcom rule
Yes.
for Konami in Gradius. One
Yes.
of the few games that Konami actually brought to the European market under the Konami brand.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as we can see, a PAL B cart looks almost the same from the top, but when you look at the header on the top, you're going to notice a big difference. The Konami logo is on the header as
Yeah.
well as Gradius, which was not present in Ryan's submission.
Right.
It only had the NTSC cart, which had
is
the
just,
Gradius
just the Gradius logo
by itself
centered. Yeah.
in the center.
Yep. Now, Guerrilla War is an interesting case. Guerrilla War, if you notice on the top of the cartridge, there's two lines of text. One of those lines is the code,
Yeah, the region
the
coding.
region code. The other line is made in Japan. Obviously, made in Japan is the bottom line. So if you notice on Ryan's cart right near the top lip, you'll see that there are two lines of text. So looking at a PAL cart, or rather a NTSC cart,
this is the NTSC card.
you can see that it says made in Japan and the USA branding. And then if we go over to a PAL cart, you can see that it just says made in Japan. And that is a PAL B region, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the B is in the
in the
very
bottom.
or
Yeah.
the top of the
Top.
image.
But yep, there is no US region code
Yeah.
on those. The region code actually appears to be on the very bottom.
Well, that's where it was placed on the EU version.
Right. And then, of
But-
course, we have the license by Nintendo of America.
In Ryan's submission. So we're going to move on to Isolated Warrior next. The big giveaway on the cartridge here is the NTVIC
Right.
on the cartridge is not present on the PAL cartridge of the game.
Right. In fact, the artwork goes almost to the top of the label.
Yeah, the artwork is entirely different. I can't remember if this is the PAL A or the PAL B version of the game, but both of
Yeah.
them have only a regional marking on the bottom with no NTVIC
Right.
brand on the cartridge itself. But again, you go back to his submission and it says licensed by Nintendo of America, which makes it clear that it's an NTSC cart being used for Ryan's submission.
Right. Dead giveaway. And then next we have Joe and Mac. Now, Joe and Mac is an interesting case. Joe and Mac does have a PAL release, and it also goes by the subtitle Caveman Ninja. Now, this is the red stripe across the top of Ryan's submission video. This is the USA version that you can clearly see, and it matches up with Ryan's. The next picture here is Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja done by Elite, which did this particular game for the European markets. So that would be present on Ryan's cart if it were, in fact, a PAL region. So then we have Kabuki Quantum Fighter. This is a fun one. If you notice on the top of Ryan's cart, there's a whole lot of text and stuff going on up there.
Well, there's a Nintendo logo up there.
Right, the Nintendo logo, the text, and all that. You know, it spells out exactly what it is, and then licensed for Nintendo. This is an NTSC, NES 3K USA. You can clearly see that. But if we flip over to a PAL cartridge, all that's missing. All the text on the top is missing, and has
that's the UK version.
Right, has the UKV.
So essentially a PAL A cartridge.
Right. So next we got short Kirby video, just showing the timing differences. Boy, was this tough to set up. But the timing differences, very, very different from a PAL cart from Ryan's submission.
Well, the little dance that Kirby makes
At the end,
the big giveaway, because right there you just saw the PAL cart dance start later and end before Ryan's submission video.
Right, so it's quicker. And then we have Mario Brothers.
Oh, this timer is a very dead giveaway.
Just watch the timer. Both of these videos were started at dang near precise same time. But the PAL cart on PAL system actually runs down faster.
Yeah,
I could have started that later, and it still would be done faster.
Where the time was grabbed, it was very clear. But we're going to go back to some very clear wrong submissions. We have the Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 2 cartridges were licensed by Nintendo of America, but also on that Super Games 150 and 1,
right?
Which, again makes me believe that, those are NTSC carts. Mega Man 3, in his submission, he does use a legitimate Mega Man 3 cartridge. However, the NTSC cartridge looks very different from the PAL version of the game, which has completely different art on the cartridge.
Right. So that's an obvious giveaway. So next we have another little small one. So most of these ones that have the video with the audio contained within them are in-house Nintendo, so it was tough for us to discern whether or not they were legitimate or not, but we actually went out and found legitimate stuff to verify what we're talking about. So if you'll listen here on the punch out, you can clearly hear that the music is way off. The game timings are all off. So just take a listen for yourself.
You can also notice a video distortion because on the PAL cart, the Mike Tyson's is actually cut off a very small bit at the top.
Yeah.
Which you see the full Mike Tyson on his submission.
Correct. So we have Ninja Gaiden, which is another Nintendo of America.
Very easy, right on the title screen, licensed by Nintendo of America. Dead giveaway. Here's a grab of his Pac-Man submission, which has licensed by Nintendo of America
on
right
the
at
bottom.
The tippy top of the screen. It was very difficult to grab this.
Yeah, the camera was moved very quickly.
Yeah, getting a stable shot of this was not easy, but again, that's the dead giveaway of the license by Nintendo of America, which
Right.
shows NTSC cart.
And then we have Panic Restaurant. Now, Panic Restaurant, PAL version, has a very, very different label to it. Here comes a couple shots of Ryan's Panic Restaurant.
Yeah, he does have multiple
And then-
submissions.
Right, he has 2 submissions in that, fastest time and points. But then you have the NTSC Panic Restaurant cartridge here, and then the European, which is very, very different as far as the artwork is concerned.
Well, notice also the positioning of the Taito logo,
Right,
which is, the dead giveaway. That Taito logo is nowhere near the top in the NTSC cart, which is what we see in his 2 submissions
right.
for the game.
Well, I would just assume that the same cart was used for both submissions, so that handles that.
Yeah, it looked like the same video was for the both of them.
Right.
And here's Paperboy, again, licensed by Nintendo of America, right on the title screen.
Yep. And then we have Pinball. Pinball is going to be another one of those visual and audios. You can see the difference in speed and sounds. You'll notice how the ball moves. Very, very different from PAL on PAL. And next we have POW, easily told by licensed by Nintendo of America.
Yeah,
They're one of
Rainbow
your
Island's
favorites.
a personal favorite of mine, and this was disappointing when I saw licensed by Nintendo of America here. But, again, it shows NTSC cart
On PAL
being
system.
used. So, unfortunately, again, another submission that does not use a PAL cartridge in a PAL system. So, we'll move on here to RoboCop, which again we see in the title screen, licensed by Nintendo of America, at the bottom of the screen, although it's not really zoomed in on the footage that's in Ryan's submission, it's very clear to see it at the bottom.
It is. And then we go into Robo Warrior, which again, Jellicoe game, licensed by Nintendo of America, and followed up by Smash TV. Now, Smash TV was interesting. Pay attention to the cartridge that Ryan is holding up. Near the red player's leg, you'll see a black stripe. And then just below where the knee would be bent, you'll see the Acclaim logo. Now, here's a shot of an NTSC cart, a good shot of it. You see the Acclaim logo, the black stripe in the red player's thigh. And then here is the PAL version of the artwork. Notice the text printed all over the red character, and he is devoid of the black strip by his inner thigh due to the text being printed there.
Yeah, it's being covered by the text.
Well, no, they didn't put it in. They left the black stripe out completely, the shadowing. Otherwise, the black text would have been swallowed up by the black.
Yeah.
So, PAL versus NTSC. Text is all over the cartridge, all over the red player.
Yeah, so again, you can see the regional difference as well. But going to Star Soldier, we're going to see another licensed by Nintendo of America in the title screen. And that's going to bring us to our next little movie,
Yeah,
which is
Tetris 2.
going to be Tetris 2.
So here we've done some sound and gameplay as well. Then that brings us to Tiger Heli with another licensed by Nintendo of America, followed by Total Recall, yeah, with a licensed by Nintendo of America, with a Trog. He had 2 submissions of Trog, multiple credit game and single credit game, both done on the same cartridge. And next we have Wario's Woods. Now Wario's Woods is a rather neat one.
This one was very.
I didn't even catch it at first.
Oh, I did straight away.
Yeah, you caught that before I did. I didn't even catch it at first. But take a listen. Take a listen, folks.
Yeah, this one should be very obvious. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound like the NTSC card at all.
Aside from the fact that the audio is dragging.
Yeah, well, the audio's dragging because it's an NTSC cart in a PAL system, but when you hear the PAL cart play, it's a completely different
tune.
audio track.
Yep, completely different tune. And that brings us to Wizards and Warriors, another licensed by Nintendo of America. And
Xevious as well.
And then we have another Yoshi Cookie for the finale here. Final movie. That brings us to Zanuck, another licensed by Nintendo of America.
Yeah, and we're going to actually do a little bit of a zoom in here, and we're going to see the USA logo.
Yeah, for Zen Intergalactic Ninja. This one was kind of fun. It was tough for us to figure this out until we spotted this little thing here. We're going to rotate the picture here and set it up so that you can see where it does actually say USA across the date code there, the region code rather, and the PAL version would say NOE.
Well, the PAL B version says NOE for Nintendo of Europe.
Right.
The PAL A might say something like UKV.
Right.
But, then we're going to go into, real quick, a brief showing of the Mega Drive that Ryan uses in all of his submissions, which is clearly shown in Afterburner 2. He does show his system in all of them.
Yes.
But again, Ryan has already admitted that he uses this system in all of his supposed Mega Drive submissions.
PAL submissions, right.
But it's not even a PAL console. If you go forward, we're going to give you a good display. Here is the Japanese Mega Drive 2.
Which looks like
which
the one
is
Ryan
exactly
used.
like what Ryan has. Notice on the bottom right the Mega Drive 2 logo. That is the only version of the Mega Drive that uses the number 2. All other versions of the Mega Drive use a Roman numeral 2. This is the Brazilian Mega Drive 2 for the...
Which Ryan thought he had.
Which is what Ryan claimed he
Right.
was using, not knowing that he had the Japanese system. It was not until the Mega Drive 3 came out that the Brazilian version of the console switched to that newer design.
The new form factor, yeah.
So on that alone, that throws out all of Ryan's Mega Drive submissions.
Being that they were done on NTSC.